I saw Better Man with no expectations and was absolutely blown away. I just made a video praising A Complete Unknown for being a slight departure from the musical biopic, but honestly, maybe it's really not, which isn't a bad thing. It actually annoys me kind of how much hate the musical biopic genre is getting online these days. I think the genre gets too much trash talk despite being just as formulaic as rom-coms, action films, or even horror films. These formulas work. The great films just make us forget that we're watching a formula. The musical biopic does have beats that it follows. Of course, the drug use, all that stuff, the wrestling with fame, but a lot of the recent musical biopics have taken risks and tried new things, such as Elvis, Rocket Man, and most recently, this film, Better Man. I knew of Robbie Williams only from one of the funny stories he told once on The Graham Norton Show, but I left this movie a huge fan. Literally sobbing in my seat, having to tell my girlfriend to go get me tissues because I had snot running down my face. The monkey thing stops being noticeable a few minutes into the movie, and then you're just locked in. In many ways, it feels more like I was watching The Real Man than a movie with a great performance by an actor. Even though it wasn't always the real Robbie Williams underneath the monkey CGI. There was an actor by the name of John O'Davies as well. But Robbie Williams did do some of the work. His eyes were 3D scanned in, and he also sang his own songs, which lends such an authenticity to a film so deep and emotional and personal. He exposes many of his flaws and shortcomings in the film, and seeing a film about an artist not afraid to show his deepest flaws was very refreshing, as a lot of times they hold back in many ways. I mean, that was one of the main criticisms of Bohemian Rhapsody. Even though Rami Malek was great in the film, it didn't necessarily explore the deep complexities of Freddie Mercury. It's also just amazing to see an artist perform his own art in his own movie about his life. Like, this may straight up be my favorite musician biopic ever, because I'm a big musical guy, and this seamlessly blends the stylings of a normal musical with the life story of the musician. A lot of other musician biopics end up trying to do a little bit of both, not quite being a live performance, but also not going as grand as a musical can let you. Rocket Man has its moments for sure, so I don't want to discount that. I think A Complete Unknown works too because it sticks to its choice to just be performances, but A Better Man has full-blown grand musical numbers that make you want to stand up and dance. It also makes sense considering that this director, Michael Gracey, directed The Greatest Showman, a movie which doesn't necessarily work for me on a story level, but works in the musical dance sequences and the songs. Michael Gracey also executive produced Rocket Man, which does experiment and has musical numbers as well. It's like he took these lessons he learned on each of these projects and threw them into this film to make this film the best parts of both. I just love when big budget movies go the experimental route, and I'm not even talking about the CGI ape, it's the other stuff during a lot of the musical numbers. I won't spoil it, but it doesn't shy away from surrealism. I loved all of the performances. Maybe the Oasis cameos felt a little caricature-y, but maybe that's because I'm a fan of them and I've seen interviews, and it's so small in the scope of the film, but maybe that's how Robbie Williams saw them, and honestly, he knows better than me. Also, if you have any sort of artistic dreams and good or bad relationships with your parents or grandparents, this will tug at your heartstrings. I didn't even entirely relate to the relationship with his father, though if you do have some father issues, this film will get to you. But it still made me sob, as well as the emphasis on persevering through the trials of trying to be an artist, and the whole journey from childhood that this film takes the audience on. How we see different versions of him throughout his whole life, and how he needs to conquer them to be a better man. I am now a huge fan of Robbie Williams and his music. I've been listening to it non-stop since I saw the movie, and I highly, highly recommend this movie. When I try to think of flaws, I really don't come up with much. I genuinely had a great time from start to finish. Like I said, it took a few minutes to adjust to the ape of it all, but that's not really a flaw. Some of the musical numbers look like they have CGI in it, which they probably do, but watching them, I don't think they have as much as their polished look implies. Maybe it's just a lot of digital backgrounds. I would have to pixel peep, but the dancers are in there, real dancers, and they're doing insane work in this one, and the cinematography is awesome. The dance numbers exude magic more than Wicked, in my opinion. Is it my favorite movie musical as someone who loves the 2021 West Side Story? I think I like the performances. I don't know. It's tough. It's really tough. They're both really good. They're just different. West Side Story is a much more grounded musical, where this one delves into fantasy way more. So they're honestly just two sides of the coin, but two of my favorites still. I love this movie, and it might be recency bias, but I love it. The family relationships work. The romantic relationship works. The friendships work. And the musical numbers work. And this hybrid Robbie ape Jono performance works really well. You stop even thinking about the fact that you're watching a CGI monkey do all these things, because it's just a human story. Like, he's not doing any monkey things. It's like a human story. It's just, he's doing a lot of human things. I almost want to see all musician biopics as animals now, because I felt Robbie Williams underneath this more than even, say, Elvis and Austin Butler or Taron Egerton and Elton John. And that's no shade to either of these guys. I would have voted for Austin Butler to win the Oscar, and it's a damn travesty that Taron Egerton wasn't nominated at all for an Oscar for Elton John. And obviously it's not going to happen where musical biopics are going to become these CGI animal movies, especially if you look at the box office of this one. But I think that's just due to the fact that he's not that big in America, unfortunately, because this movie is awesome. The movie explores themes of identity, growing up, desire for fame, desire for artistic integrity, and desire to be loved. I think we can all connect to at least one of these, and if you do, this movie should work on you. It handles them all so well, and it just has such a beautiful arc with some of my favorite songs from life, not even from him. It uses songs that aren't his so well, and just the full arc of the character hit me so deeply in my core. Please go see this movie. Honestly, it's a great double feature with A Complete Unknown, as they are entirely different approaches to the same genre. I laughed, I cried, I was entertained. It's one of my favorite movies of 2024, if that counts. I'm trying to think, which one would you do first? I'd probably do A Complete Unknown first and finish with this. This one's more emotional, more big, just more charged, just so much more going on, just so much more flashiness to it. So it might be like, it's not quite an Oppenheimer Barbie situation, because I enjoyed my time in this movie more. I don't know, just see them both. Thanks for watching, and subscribe if you want to see more. I would do A Complete Unknown first, then I would do Better Man. That's my recommendation. Good night.